Hello, fellow Earthlings. Welcome to Third Rail Politics. Welcome to freedom. Welcome to Guerrilla Radio. Welcome to the one place on this earth where you hear unbiased, unideological opinions. And that was Forward to Yesterday there, doing my theme music. Thank you, Forward to Yesterday, for letting me use your song. It saves me from paying anybody copyrights or getting one of them nasty letters telling me to cease and desist. So anyway, the sound just kind of went out, John. Is that, we need to bring it up a little bit. Just so I can hear. Okay, thank you very much. We got so many things to cover, as always. And I got to tell you guys, every time that I do this, it's getting better and better and better. And when I say better and better, I don't mean necessarily that I'm getting better, although I am. I'm not talking about that we have more and more people watching, even though we do. I'm not talking about how we're learning things, because obviously we are. I'm talking about that every day, everybody, including me, is learning how much we have to protect our freedoms, how much we have to protect our right to speech, our right to assemble, our right to protect our homes, our right to protect our country. These are all super. I don't want to sound like Glenn Beck here, but Glenn's on to something on that one. We have to protect our rights in this country, and every day I am learning more and more about how valuable it is to protect every one of our rights. I've been working on one of my sociology professors. I work at a major university that I can't mention. And we're going to talk about censorship. And and just the fact, I mean, doesn't it illustrate the point, folks? Doesn't it illustrate the point that I'm sitting here, and this is actually negotiated by my union, that I can't mention the university that I work for fear of losing my job. You have to understand something. There is a systemic prejudice that goes on in this country. Okay, now I'm not going to adhere to anything that Cornel West says, but there is a certain systemic prejudice, and what I mean by that is that the government, particularly, has the right to control different things. It has the right to control what you say, has the right to control what I say, what you see on your TV, what goes into your radio. And the internet is just amazing. This is the freest place on earth. I love being on the internet. I love being able to say the things that I do. I love being able to do the goofy things that I do. I like being able to have the fun that I have here. And it's the main reason that I'm here. This is a pinnacle of freedom, and we need to protect it with everything that we have. And I'm going to try to get this professor on there, and he is going to make a case for censoring you. He's going to make a case for telling you not to say the N-word. He's going to make a case to tell you that you shouldn't use hate speech, which I always love. I always love the hate speech dopes, by the way, and I don't know what else to call them. But, I call it the hate group that hates hate groups. Because think about it. They hate hate groups. They want to tell the Klan or whoever that what they can say. I don't have that problem. I think you have more to fear from the people that want to censor you, because censorship is power. I have a picture that I have on one of my sites, and I was taken out of Ann Arbor. It is the greatest picture that I have ever seen. It illustrates exactly how I feel about all this. It is a young black woman that's at a demonstration that they're having in Ann Arbor that the Ku Klux Klan puts on once a year, that they can no longer put on, by the way. And a bunch of the people, the liberals, attacked one of the Klansmen and beat him down. And this black woman jumps on top of the Klansman and shields the guy with her body. And when they asked the woman why she did such a thing, it's the greatest picture because it just illustrates everything. She said, I hate them people with all my guts, with everything, every fabric of my body, but I defend his right to stand there and say the things that he says. As offensive as I find it, that woman gets it. That woman understands. You have to fear so much. I tell all my friends all the time, it's not the Nazis were a horrible organization, and they manipulated people using fear and intimidation. And what happened to the Jews during that period? I mean, no matter what they did, it's nothing justifies genocide. Nothing. And what you have to understand about it, people say, some of my Jewish friends have actually said this to me. It's It didn't start out with them shoving us in ovens and in concentration camps. It started out with them telling us that we were less than human, that we were dogs, that we were evil, that we were this and we were that. And I always tell them, it's not that. It's the fact that the people couldn't tell them that it was wrong. It was that the Jewish people couldn't stand up for themselves. It's that they restricted any thought, the Nazis did, any thought that wasn't theirs. And this has happened in other places. Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, the president of Venezuela, he's done the same thing. They started out with, he took over in a major class warfare. And this is what happens in a lot of socialist countries, like Fidel Castro did in Cuba. And they took over all the corporations, which may or may not have been as evil as they contend, but took over all the corporations and immediately started distributing the wealth. This is what socialism does. But as Margaret Thatcher famously said, eventually they ran out of other people's money. And as demonstrated by even Fidel Castro now saying that the Cuban model no longer works. But when Hugo Chavez came in there, he immediately started arresting anybody that spoke out against what he was doing, because he believed so adamantly that he was the one that was doing the right thing to do. This is a fearful thing. Whether this comes from the people that are fundamentalist Christians, from Muslims, from any radical group that you can name, the skinheads, I don't care who they are. They believe that they are absolutely right. The liberals that live on my campus, they believe that they're so justified in what they do that they have to stop anybody from dissenting against their opinion so that they can indoctrinate you into the right thing to do. This is scary beyond belief, people. Scary beyond belief. You cannot have this. You have to always allow people to speak. Sometimes I hear people say things that are just, incredibly offensive. Here at Flint Talk Radio, we have people that say things all the time that I adamantly disagree with. I have arguments with my great friend Perry. We were just talking about 9/11 conspiracy. I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but Perry is completely entitled to his opinion, and I tell him all the time, I don't agree with you, and I don't think that happened. But the most important thing is, Perry, keep asking questions, because you know what? I'm not all-knowing and all-seeing. I'm not a deity. I'm not a god. I don't know every single thing. It could very well be that I'm wrong, folks. It's happened before. I mean, I voted for Jennifer Granholm, and I'm going to illustrate how wrong I was on that one. I have been wrong. I've had to retract things. I am not all-knowing and all-seeing. Nobody is. Nobody has stepped onto this planet since Jesus Christ or Muhammad or Buddha or whoever you want to believe in. But nobody has stepped on this planet, no normal average human being that is right all the time, and neither am I. And for that reason, I have to allow people to dissent. I have to allow people to make their opinions so I can find out if I'm wrong. I'll defend what I believe. I don't mind defending what I believe, but I have to allow them to speak just in case I might be wrong. Okay, let's get into some of these things. There's been this headline that came out of the Detroit News today is just incredible to me. The state's income, and I'm talking about Michigan, the state's income pledge is the sharpest in the nation. This illustrates just how bad. I want to tell you guys, we have been under the under the dictatorship of one Jennifer Granholm here in Michigan. I call her Buffy the Job Killer. This woman has somehow managed to manipulate the press to a point, and I'm even going to point out in this article where they're even showing how bad this everything is in Michigan, they still apologize for her. She's got this media in this state so browbeat. I want to ask you guys a question. Hey, John, can I get a little bit more playback into my headphone, just a little bit? Okay, thank you. That's good. I just want to point it out. Now, I want you people to think about Barack Obama for a minute. Okay, now it was really what we had in the economy prior with the Republicans, aided and abetted by the Democrats, that collapsed the economy for all of us. This terrible thing that happened to our housing, where housing values dropped an average 27%. Some areas, like my area, 45%, where we lost huge sections of our 401ks. When we went through all of this, a deep, deep hole, probably the deepest hole that we've seen ourselves in since the Great Depression. I'd like to compare it to the early 80s, but I'll leave that open for debate amongst economists, people that know more than me. But even in the event of that, are we still allowing Barack Obama to make excuses here 19 months into it? 19 months away? Already people are saying it's his economy. Certainly, I will give him, and I voted for him, I will give him 2 years to turn this economy around. He's got the 19 months that it took Ron Reagan to turn the economy around in similar circumstances. And then he's going to take complete and utter ownership of it. And I am going to rip him a new, you know what, every single day until they decide that they're totally wrong. Keynesian philosophy for their economy, what I call demonics, is failed, that it's not working. They've already pumped $1.6 trillion into the economy. You know, that's when Ron Reagan did it, when his total to cumulative tax cuts were only $275 billion. That's what, 5-6 times as much? And we still haven't seen the results of it. And that's money that people got to keep in their pockets. That's the money that was put all around. Now, here's another point. Now, there's a couple points I want to make really quick on the economy, and I'll get right back to the Jennifer Granholm thing. I don't want to get too far off point here. But there's another point that I want to bring up. 80% of the TARP funds that have been let out have already been paid back. None of the money for the recovery fund come back at all. But I want you guys to ask yourself, because I saw Timothy Geithner. Timothy Geithner is the Secretary of Treasury under Barack Obama. I saw Timothy Geithner on TV, and they asked him this question. And they says, well, when the money comes back to the TARP funds, from the TARP funds, the money that we lent AIG, Merrill Lynch, and everything else, where does that money go back? You know what Timothy Geithner's answer to that was? I assume it goes against the debt. I assume. Secretary of Treasury of the United States, and you're making an assumption where trillions that are coming back are going? And I, to this day, and I've tried to find out, I keep hearing that it's going back into the Treasury to be put against the debt, but I don't see the debt going down. And I'm wondering, seriously, who's tracking this damn money when it comes back from the TARP fund? How much of this money are we seeing that's coming back into the coffers that's not being redistributed? Is this just a giant slush fund? Are they giving money to the Republicans? And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't trust the Republicans any more than I trust the damn Democrats. When it comes to handing out money, they're equally greedy. It just depends. The only thing that they change over the past, and and some of you liberals will back me up on this one. If you look over the course of the past, since the Reagan era, even slightly prior to that, but if you look at that, because you can actually include Jimmy Carter. If you look at it, the actual increase of the national debt, minus Barack Obama, because Barack Obama is setting all brand new records in every aspect. But if you look at it, it's the Republicans that drove up the national debt. The Republicans that spent. All the Democrats and the Republicans care about is who gets the money. That's where their major beef is. They want to redistribute it different ways. The Democrats want to throw it and carpet bombing the inner cities, which is a loss completely. At least the Republicans, when they spend their money, they give it to the corporations who create jobs and help the economy. So the return that we get from the Republicans is actually better, even though we're spending a lot of money and increasing the debt. It is on the back of our children. However, but the Democrats they just throw it down a damn hole. It never goes anywhere. But the point is that for that amount of money, we should be having a better return on our investment. For $1.6 trillion, and by the way, Barack Obama is getting away with this because that's not, you got to remember, Bush only spent 20% of the TARP funds by the time he left. Henry Paulson had only spent 20% of the TARP funds. The remaining 60% that's been spent since then has been spent by Barack Obama. And nobody tallies. The media does not tally that up as being part of Obama's spending program. And it absolutely is. One of the more interesting quotes that I heard by Michelle Obama, and I don't ever get into attacking Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama's, unless she gets involved in something else, something more involved, a la Hillary Clinton in the healthcare, I'm not going to get on Michelle Obama. I think she's doing a great job. She's doing a first lady job, baking cookies or whatever. I don't really care. She stays out of the political scheme. I'm going to leave Michelle Obama alone. However, somebody asked Michelle Obama, "Did you know that almost $300 billion of your husband's $800+ billion Recovery Act is all going to be directed into cities under social programs?" She goes, "Shh, that's supposed to be a secret." And if you look at the directing of all that money, that's where all that money is going. It's like a big scam to create slush funds. They've been just absolutely blasting. Here in the city of Flint, for instance, here's a quick for instance. We were getting ready to lay off some of our firemen and some of our police. And immediately, when Barack Obama and his administration heard about it, because we're pretty much a Democrat city, and he likes, we're mostly black, so, about 50-50 black and white. And Immediately, he came in with some recovery fund money to stop those people from being laid off. He's also pumped money into Michigan to the tune of $700 million to help bail out Medicare, Medicaid, and the teachers' funds. Hold on one second. All of that money came from the Recovery Act. That's just a sample. That's like $1 billion that I just pointed out to you guys just in those. That's not counting the $3,000 that they were handing out to anybody that could prove that they were homeless or on the verge of being homeless, and all the other programs that they've had in Detroit and Atlanta and Philadelphia and all around it. But just $1 billion just in Michigan alone. And just those examples that I just gave you. And this is all the Recovery Act money. There's the idea that you're saving somebody's job or something by bailing out their Medicaid and bailing out their Medicare. Whose job are you saving when you're bailing out $300 million to Medicaid and Medicare? That's to give people funds for that they're already receiving. The only thing I can see is the multiplier effect of those people spending those money, but that's instantly going to spend down, and pretty soon that's going to be gone. Okay. Let's get back to this whole democratic philosophy that we have here in the state of Michigan, run by Buffy the Job Killer Granholm. The result, what Jennifer Granholm did when she came in, is she had relatively the same philosophy, the same demonics that what Barack Obama is now trying to institute in the entire state of Michigan, or the entire United States of America. Oddly enough, in the state that had for a long time a one-state recession, for up until very recently led the United States in unemployment, for the state that's lost more jobs than any other state in the union, the disaster, billions in the hole. This is a state or a governor that Barack Obama brought in to be on his financial advisory team when he first took office. Jennifer Granholm. If you're going to have an advisor, why would you pick somebody that's in the state that's doing the damn worst? I mean, you want to destroy the United States of America? I mean, my personal guess is he wanted to know how to keep the media off of his back, because that's the one thing that she does know how to do. According to this article in the Detroit Free Press, Sterling Heights has lost. This is median income. 33.8% of their median income in Sterling Heights. 31.9% of their income in Kalamazoo. 31.3% in Detroit. 28.3%. This is people's income. This is real. I mean, I'm not going to do what the Democrats do and do exampling and bring out, a couple of people that lost their job. Maybe I should, to show people that have actually lost a third of their income. This is the average. This is people across the state that have lost. 21.3% is the number that they have of the median income between 2000 and 2009. And no state endured the 6.5 drop seen from 2008 to 2009 that the state of Michigan has endured. These are incomes that we've lost. The average income, families in Michigan have dropped $12,000 since 2000. Their average income that they're living on, that they're feeding their families, has dropped $12,000. And what did Jennifer Granholm say she was going to do? Well, besides saying we're going to be blown away by all the job creation that she has, immediately she comes out and says, when she gets elected, that she's going to turn this state around. And we're a state that lost a lot of jobs due to the automobile manufacturing. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. What a damn lie they have been perpetrating on the state of Michigan about how this has been happening. So you can look for some of this to happen out of the Obama administration if Jennifer Granholm was brought into his advisory team to try to advise him how to avoid the media as his agenda destroys our economy. Now, when she came in, she said she was going to subsidize highways. She was going to create work programs a la Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the New Deal. She said that she was going to create a green economy. Does any of this sound familiar, guys? I mean, did anybody recognize this? This is in January of 2003 in the state of Michigan, as we elected this clear socialist who came from California, where she was carpetbagging, before she became our attorney general, before she became our mayor, who was born, or our governor, who was born in Canada. So she had a socialist agenda from the word go. Now, the only thing that I can say that she probably created, the only thing that she created that I kind of agree with is the My Child account, which kind of helps give medical care for children. I don't think most staunch conservatives have any problem with that one. Okay, but that was a minor program by comparison. Trust me, it's not even coming close to creating the problem that we have right now. We're running deficits. I mean, if you take she got $700 million to help bail out, but we'd be well over $1 billion in debt in a deficit just on this budget right now. Never mind the $3 billion plus that she's in debt for the unemployment that she borrowed from the federal government. So she's going to be leaving the next governor by the time you rally all this up. You're going to have $5, maybe $6 billion in debt before we even start. 42% of the people in the state of Michigan, 42% do not work. 22% of the people are on some kind of Social Security, disability, everything else. Now real unemployment, our unemployment right now is 13.1. Our real unemployment is closer to 20%. Add those two numbers together, people that are on Social Security, disability, Social Security, everything retired, everything. This is the people that are over 16 years old in the state of Michigan. 42% of these people right now in the state of Michigan are not getting up like me and you and going to work. And I assume most of us are getting up and going to work. I'm not blaming the people that are unemployed. What I'm saying is that you can't have every morning and get up, and it keeps on this trend. Eventually, it'll be more than half. I'll be getting up, John will be getting up every morning and doing the things that we do so that we can create income, so that we can support somebody else in the state. That's unsustainable. If it keeps growing at this rate, we're all going to be out. It's going to destroy the entire economy. This is the kind of economy that Barack Obama and the Democrats right now are advocating. This green technology, which can't survive. We've lost 1 million jobs in the state of Michigan. 1 million jobs. Now, we've gained back some of them, okay? Now, you have to be careful because this is part of the propaganda that always occurs in politics. And that is that and they did this with Bush, is they count every single job that's lost, but they don't count the jobs that are gained. So in other words, I lose my job at the university, but I go to work for another university. One guy says, I created one job, which he's talking about the job that I got. The other guy says, you lost a job, which is the job that I lost. They add them all up with another 900,000 people like me and say that 900,000 jobs are lost or 900,000 jobs are gained, when in reality it's net neutral because every one of them people moved to a different job. You understand what I'm talking about? But, however, there is a net number in all this, the net number, and I love going to places like Bureau of Labor Statistics, Center for Disease Control. These are all great sites because the Democrats and the Republicans, they have to fight over it, and trust me, they do fudge up the numbers a little bit. But there's people that go in and they check the numbers, economists, other groups, advocacy groups come back and they check the number. And remember, these are numbers that Wall Street uses too. So Wall Street and everybody, they want to know how the economy is truly going. Nobody is going to allow the president or anybody else, the governor or anybody else, to fudge up these numbers for very long. Eventually, they're going to sit down and count the number of checks, the number of people that they have to write. I mean, you have to write a check for these people on unemployment. You have to put them on welfare. There has to be, people that apply for food stamps, whatever. Those numbers will eventually come back to haunt them. They can't fudge it enough. They might be able to move it a point here, a point there, 0.1, 0.2, but then eventually they have to revise them because the numbers come in and it chases them down. Every single president would never want to have a recession on paper if he could possibly get away with it. So every single one of them get caught in. So these are great numbers. The CDC, they have to be very, very, very careful. They don't want to go telling people that this diabetes drug works or that diabetes is falling when actually diabetes is rising, and they have other advocacy groups that keep happening. So those are all great sites to go to, guys. I mean, I know people say, it's a government site. Trust me, those sites are good. Those sites are good. But the point is, in Michigan, okay, we've had a net loss since 2003, when Jennifer Granholm came into office, a net loss of 278,400 jobs. Our unemployment rate now is at 13.1. Is this the kind of government you want in the future? This is think about what I just told you before. Subsidized housing, subsidized work, that's jobs, that's going to be done a la Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the New Deal. This is what the Democrats and the academia have been advocating for a long time. And green technology by Elizabeth Boyd, who is Jennifer Granholm's own press secretary. She says we have created 60,000 subsidized jobs in the green market since Jennifer Granholm came into office. 60,000. We lost 1 million, but we replaced them with 60,000. We ended up with a net loss of 278,400 in her administration. You extrapolate from that what you're going to get in the government of Barack Obama if he stays on this plan. You will have that times 50 for the entire country over the course of his 8 years. Should we be so unfortunate, or should he be so fortunate as to stay in for another term? Which I don't actually think is going to happen, folks, if that's what his plan is. Now, I don't want to be too harsh on Barack, because there's always a chance. People forget. And our memory as voters, our memory as citizens is always kind of short. Ron Reagan took a sharp turn to the right. Ron Reagan, when he first came into office, he got put in by a lot of his right-wing buddies, by Ralph Reed. He got put in by Jimmy Swaggart and Pat Robertson and all the rest of the far Christian right, who have since faded into the background, by the way, and are still there. And he stood on stage with them with Newt Gingrich and everybody else. And what happened was Ron Reagan took too far to the right, did too much, even though I do think his tax cuts were good. They were too heavily skewed, in my never to be humble opinion. They were too heavily skewed toward the rich. And after 2 years, Reagan started turning to the left a little bit, and he became more of a centralist. And in my opinion, one of the greatest economic presidents that we've ever had. But it was only when he became more of a centralist. Bill Clinton, another good president, in my opinion, economically, did the same thing in the opposite. He went far too much to the left with all his little Hollywood buddies and everything else, and too much to appease the people that were on that side of the fence, and too much into the Keynesian philosophy of trying to pump money from the demand side as opposed to the supply side. And then after the second year, the midterms, when he lost in 1994, when he lost the House and the Senate, he became more of a centralist, and with the Republicans became one of the better presidents. I'm not going to say Jimmy Carter was the best, because I have my own personal favorites from Abraham Lincoln on, but he became one of the better presidents that we've had economically, and that was because he centralized. If Barack Obama can see the light, and Barack, I'm telling you, I'm going to speak to you right now, right here on the internet, because I know you have the internet, because Al Gore invented it for you. So I know that you I know you can go on. Maybe one of your kids will help you out. Kids, call Dad up. Okay, tell Dad to come here for a minute. And I want to tell him the hippie wants to talk to him for a second. Just come on. Barack, how you doing? Okay, I did vote for you. Starting to regret it. Okay, I'm like that Val woman that said that she was exhausted defending you. I'm getting exhausted defending you too, my man. You need to centralize. If you want to see your party's going to get its ass kicked in the midterm. I'm sorry, but that's what we need to have. You're going to have reduced power. Please move toward the center. Please understand that you have to centralize this. You have to focus a little more, centralize the economy, stop skewing it toward poor people. Poor people don't create any jobs. I'm sorry, they don't. That's just the truth. Start generating jobs, create it from the side of the people that are capable of creating it. Give middle class tax cuts that stand solid, so the people that are in the middle that are suffering the most have the chance to recover. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about something that just drove me nuts in this past week. I don't know if any of you guys caught this. I'm beginning to think, and this is one of the reasons that I'm probably really, really pissed off at the Democrats right now. I'm thinking that the Democrats are, and Congress in general, are freaking laughing at us. Does anybody else get this opinion? That they're not even trying anymore? That they're actually doing stuff just to piss us off? A lot of people that I know are suffering. A lot of people that you guys know are suffering right now. And they bring in, okay, first off, Obama comes in and makes a big speech talking about how he's going to focus more on jobs, how we got to turn the economy around, how he understands, even though they said, remember when they had the report that said the recession was over? I made a big joke about that last week. What a joke. And when he says afterwards that they're going to focus more and more on having jobs and creating more jobs for small business, and how they got the bill to try to help the job market, and it's going to have tax breaks for the middle class, tax breaks for the small business and everything else. And by the way, small sidebar here. when they take taxes, when the Bush tax cuts expire, which is going to happen January 1st, there's going to be a lull between the time when they expire and when they reinstitute them, when they get put back in. But watch this. I want you guys to keep your eyes open for this. Are they going to turn back the taxes for me and you, the percentage? When they do that, are they also going to put back the child care dependency tax credits? The tax credits that we get for home repair, for whatever, all the other tax credits that we got on the Bush tax cuts that they're not talking about, because every time I hear the media talk about it, the left stream media, the only thing that they're ever talking about is the percentages. There's other things that are in the Bush tax cuts. Remember how the marriage tax cut, the marriage tax penalty changed so that people that were married got the equivalent of two single people, so there wouldn't be the marriage penalty anymore. That was in the Bush tax cuts. Remember when they increased your dependency credit, your child dependent credit, and they increased that? That's in there too. Those things are going to be rescinded back along with the estate tax and the things that the Democrats will tell you about. Now the question is, when they say, well, okay, we're going to put the tax credits back that George Bush had, with the exception of the people, I'm sure you guys have all heard this, of individuals that make over $200,000, of families that make over $250,000. But the question is are they going to put back those other tax credits that we, the people under $200,000, are getting? Or are we going to get boned by that quietly? That's what you guys need to watch. Keep your eye on that, because that is going to be absolutely all important. But let me get back to this. As they were talking about how they were going to fix, and this is Barack Obama and the Democrats, how they were going to go back and start fixing the economy. And what did they do immediately after they talked about it? What did they do, people? They immediately went into the Senate and tried to push a bill, which they failed, to pass, to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which, by the way, they always forget to tell you that was actually instituted by none other than Bill Clinton, which they always want to avoid telling you that because they don't want to inflame the gay community. The thing is, what the hell do they spell jobs? Is jobs spelled G-A-Y-S? I guess it is. Because immediately after telling you on your TV screen that they're going to go after jobs and try to fix our economy, what do? They immediately walk into the halls of Congress and start pushing through a gay agenda. This is the problem I have with this administration. They're so diverted away from what they should be focusing on. You can't focus. I don't have any problem with the gay people. I don't give a damn if they could serve in the military. I have some serious questions about what the hell it means to be openly serving. John, do you have any idea what that means? Does that involve dresses?
I don't know. I mean, not all the gays are transvestites, but
no, that's true. I'm sorry. I apologize to those of you that are.
I know some transvestites are straight guys, but
yeah, they say usually they are, which is really freaky.
Yeah, I guess
in my world, I'm sorry.
I guess some guys just are envious of their moms and their sisters, but
I don't.
If you don't get a chance, you got to listen to that song "Uncorrected Personality Traits" by Robin Hitchcock, because he talks about reconcile your parents, but do you by becoming both at once, and I guess that's leading to transvestism. I
have no desire to wear women's clothes, and it was.
I don't know what the openly gay things. I mean, does it mean you could hit on the guys in your unit, or
does it mean I don't know? Yeah, I don't know. I'd like somebody to explain it to me. Does it mean you can openly date? I mean, do they have like military balls that everybody brings a girlfriend to? No pun intended there.
Yeah, I just think that I don't know what it means. It's just I'm shaking my head because I have a hard time with the gay marriage thing.
You cut out, man. There you go. No, you're still cut out, man. You're still cut out.
Yeah, I think
it's sorry, technical difficulties there.
I just think it's weird. I just don't understand it. I mean, if it's a property rights issue that they say the major focus is on, well, change that law.
Yeah, I mean,
gay marriages is to me just the wrong way of going.
Absolutely.
I have a hard time with that.
I don't want to get distracted on that, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. But the bigger issue here is that instead of focusing on the jobs like they said they were going to, they turn around and focus on gay marriage. Instead, there's something that only really applies to 5 or 10% of the people, the very most. I mean, and that's the high numbers that the gay community comes up with. And meanwhile, people are seriously suffering. I mean, $12,000 having people their average medium incomes were.
That's ridiculous. I mean, that's like that's
somebody's job. That's a job for some people.
I didn't get paid much more than that when I was working for the A-Force I mentioned university issue. I did when I first started.
Here's an interesting thing, John. Did you just get your Social Security thing? I mean, they mailed them out to everyone. Yeah, okay. I just got mine, me and my wife's, which is really interesting. Okay, I want to point out something. I was actually thinking about bringing it in, but here's the point. I found out. Now, if I work all the way to 67, which actually, for some weird reason, it says 66 in 10 months, my estimated Social Security benefit is $1,546. Okay? Now, if I got disabled or said I was disabled or went mentally ill or whatever, and I'm not putting down the people that actually do need the disability. I'm just saying I know for a fact there's a lot of people that are out there faking because it shouldn't have been 5 or 6% back in the 1950s and now 20%. That's it. There's just no way that with increases in medicine and everything that we've got now that many more people are becoming disabled. But here's the point. $1,486 if I get disabled tomorrow. With complete, by the way, John, with complete Medicaid and everything. So apparently, I'm supposed to work in this, and this is the Democratic philosophy that I'm supposed to work because they believe in altruism, that nobody would do this, nobody would ever look at this and think, hey, what the hell am I working for? If I went on disability today at 50 years old, I'm 50 years old. I wouldn't have to wait 17 damn years, and the difference in my check would be like $60.
Well, my dad, when he retired, he worked at the post office, so they had their own retirement fund set up. But he had to work at other jobs. He paid Social Security for like 20-some years. When he retired, you know how much he got each month for Social Security after paying 20-some years into it? $120 a month.
Wow.
But now we have illegals coming into this country who are getting $1,500, $2,000 a month from unemployment who had never paid into the system.
Is it no wonder that we're going in down the tubes, people? I was seeing that today that they're having in Spain. And by the way, for you people that are watching, you guys, I'm actually right now I'm counting every day to October 1st because October 1st is the day that I can lock in my winnings because I have a 401k that I manage myself. And what I do is I market time. And my market timing, which I average about 12% a year, which is really good. My highest that I've gotten is 16.9. The lowest that I got was during this last recession, which I'm really good at mitigating loss. I lost 4.3, which anybody that lost is going to know.
You're in the wrong business, George. I'm serious. That's pretty good. That's a really good record.
Well, thank you.
I got a financial expert who want to talk to you about recruiting you, man. I'm serious.
The funny part about it is that I talk to a lot of our econ professors and school of management professors, and they always, well, how the hell are you doing this? And I always tell people it has nothing to do with the economy, with the market, which I barely understand. It has everything to do with politics, which I do understand. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at the collapse of the EU. I'm looking at different riots that are going on. When you look at the EU, you have to think about different things. Now, are those jobs going to come back to us? Is it going to hurt us in the short term? Is China going to impact us? Those are all the things that I look at. I look at the world market. I think part of the problem is with some of our econ professors is they're kind of behind the curve. They're still using old market data that I don't think applies to a global market anymore. And that's pretty much what I do. Right now, I'm waiting for October 1st. I'm scared to death of Spain. Have you been watching what's going on in Spain right now?
I haven't. I admit my ignorance on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe, and this is one of my prophecies here. I believe that you'll see the EU collapse within the next 2-3 years. I think not that the EU itself will collapse. I mean that it'll start breaking up. And what's going to happen is there's really only two powerhouses in the EU right now, and that is Germany and France.
France is doing well?
France is doing fairly well, yes.
If it was a stagnant economy last year, I know that it was still stagnant.
Well, you have to understand that France's economy is an export economy in tourism. So France exports wines, cheeses, stuff like that, and appeasement.
Also known as surrender. No.
Yeah. White flags. Diagrams of how to get into the fetal position, things like that they all export. But they're an export economy, and they also have a large tourist economy. So they have the French Riviera and everything else, and people like to go into France. And so France has a lot of incoming money, and that kind of helps them. Germany, on the other hand, is a very stable economy. It's always been a powerhouse. That's because German work ethic is off the charts. I mean, German engineering is the epitome of engineering. Germany has always been a hardworking country. And the thing about it is that like recently when they had Greece that went under, they had $1 trillion bailout. The EU had to come up with that money.
through the World Bank to bail out Greece. A lot of that money came out of Germany. And Angela Merkel, who's the prime minister right now of Germany, had riots in the street where the German people were so upset because Greece at the time had a retirement age of 62. And the German people were like, we're bailing out people that can retire at 62, and we can't retire to 65? And I can't say as I blame them. This isn't going to continue. If there's more countries, we've already got the pigs, which is Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain that have already collapsed. You've had Hungary and Iceland collapse. Now you've got Spain. Spain is right now teetering on the brink of total collapse, which is going to require being bailed out. Who does all the bailing out? When the EU bails out, who does all the bailing out? It's Greece, or Germany, and France. When you think of the countries that are in Europe, and you try to think of the most nationalistic countries, and nationalistic means that they look out for themselves first. Germany and France is at the top of your damn list. They're not going to put up with this for very long. So anyway,
It's going to help us out, though.
in the long run, in the long run, in the long run, you're right. It'll bring back. But the thing is, you have to look at it. I think in the view of the economy being a larger pie, that it also includes all them countries. So yeah, I mean, market share eventually will come back to us in a way that'll help us take a bigger piece of the pie, but the pie will be smaller. That's the way I view it. So that hurts us in the short term, at least. In the long term, if the pie recovers and they recover and their economy has exercises their austerity measures, then it'll eventually recover and we'll have a bigger market share till they regain it back, and we'll be in a position to do better in the short term or in the long term, as opposed to the short term where the pie will just shrink. But right now, what I'm afraid of is that we're going to have anything is going to trigger the market. Market likes certainty and it hates uncertainty. Right now, everything's been relatively calm. It looks like some of the measures that they have that they passed around in the EU is going to settle down. What's going to happen? What's happening now in Spain is that they had riots because they didn't want to have these austerity measures because they have an extremely powerful union that works within the government. I'm a fan of unions. But unions have to be kept under control. When you have giant unions, particularly in the government, which is really, honestly, the last place that you want unions. You want unions at Walmart. You don't want unions at, the city building where you're having. And I'm actually a state union member. But you got to have it so that it's set up so that in the times when when you don't have as much money that's drawn in from the economy, like right now, when you have a recession, you have to have a mechanism to have austerity measures so you can draw back. If you have places like in France where they have large government unions, and in Spain they go on strike, they shut down the transit, they shut down the airports, they shut down the home care, they shut down every aspect of government function, and it holds them hostage. So the government can't do what they need to do, which is scale back. It just continues to grow. If it grows and grows and grows to a ridiculous proportion, then you're going to then you can't have austerity. What austerity means is bringing your expenditures in line with your assets, to use a short term. And right now, Spain is having trouble with these people rioting. If it comes out that they can't institute their austerity measures, then they're on a track to collapse. If that happens, it's going to happen all around the EU. So, come on, guys, hang on, because what it is I don't want to bore you guys with my personal finances, but because I've been doing market timing and the people that I do it with, the fund company that handles most of my retirement, they have limited me to making 2 moves every 30 days. And I'll move in and I'll move out. If I make one extra move, they lock me out for 90 days. And they've only done this because because if I'm making 12%, but overall they're only making 6%, particularly when they're losing 20%, where does that extra money come from? Well, it comes from their profit. It can't come from anywhere else because everybody else is making money. And it's done in a large group where they've diversified it over thousands of different investments. And so I'm taking money out of their pocket, which I don't have any problem with. Because, I can't help it. I'm smarter than them. Like John said, then they should damn well hire me. And I could help them make 12% every year. But the bottom line is that you're seeing EU get into this position where they're actually, if they don't watch it, they're going to completely collapse. They're going to completely collapse. And after Germany runs out and the euro collapses, I think they'll still survive. I'm not talking about that it'll be another depression or anything like that. But I think you're going to see the EU fall apart, and that's really good for. It's like America prospered in the '90s in part because of Ron Reagan destroying the Soviet Empire, because that increased some of our influence. The Soviet Union couldn't sell sort of things, potatoes or arms or whatever, probably mostly arms around the world, and we gained that market share, including in manufacturing. A lot of people don't realize manufacturing is a lot of things other than cars. And you're talking about ships, you're talking about planes, you're talking about trains, large things that require large infrastructure that we're not going to send over to Hugo Chavez. No company, Boeing's not going to go over and build a giant plane plant over there so it can be seized by the socialists. So there's only certain places where it's stable enough, and likewise, you're not going to build it in some place in Nigeria where they have a dictator that's going to overthrow the country and seize it. And maybe might be capitalist this week, socialist next.
Yeah, capitalists definitely want to set up shop in a place that's more stable economically and politically. So
absolutely, especially, it's okay to go into some country and make tennis shoes. But it's not okay to go in there and make freight liners. That's a huge investment, and they're just not going to do it. I want to put truth to the lie, by the way, of this manufacturing thing that's going on in Michigan. Okay, one of the things that they keep pointing to in Michigan is they say that the automobile and manufacturing has triggered the high unemployment rate in Michigan. Now, it's contributed to it, yes, but here I'm going to put the truth to the lie. Okay. Now, when Jennifer Granholm came into office in January of 2003, there's 4 major Rust Belt states, and I'm only going to take the 4 because I want to keep it simple. And I want to try to follow this. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible because numbers do not transcend very well over the radio. So I don't want to bore you guys. So I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. Here, I'm going to take a sip of water before I rattle off all these numbers. Okay, the top states were Michigan, New York, Illinois, and Ohio. Those are the top states in manufacturing. New York is the one that has actually the biggest union presence. All of them have union presence. Most all of them are relied on the big 3, the same as we are in here in Michigan. Now, you people in Michigan, pay special attention because you've been getting fed this lie, and it's a damn lie. Okay, it's not just a lie; it's a damn lie. And here's why. Okay, in January of 2003, Michigan was actually the number 2 state in manufacturing. The number 1 was in Ohio, who had 867,000. We had 742,000. The next one was Illinois, which had 733,000. So barely less. They were all relatively the same. New York had 630,000. I only include them because they're the number 1 union state. So I don't want the union people or the anti-union people to say that the reason that we lost so many jobs was because they were unionized. Excuse me. That's simply not true. Okay? Now, during that point from there until now, we in Michigan have lost 278,000 jobs. New York lost 166,000. Remember, they're all relatively similar. Illinois has lost 169,000. Ohio lost 243,000. Now, we lost more jobs, even though we were the second biggest, we lost more jobs than Ohio did. And the first question you should ask Jennifer Granholm is, why did we lose a disproportionate amount of jobs? Okay? Secondly, bigger point. Unemployment in Michigan is 13.1. Unemployment in New York is 8.3. Unemployment in Illinois is 10.1. Unemployment in Ohio is 10.1. We lost more jobs, yes. But why do we lose more jobs? That's a bigger question. And why did those guys manage, even though they had more manufacturing than we did? Why didn't they lose as many jobs as we did? And why isn't their unemployment higher? Now, here's the bigger point. Now, Ohio was the number 1, 867,000, right? Okay. They did not take on our green energy program. They did not take on our sprinkling money and subsidizing every damn thing under the sun. So how did they do? Michigan lost 200,502 overall net jobs. 200,500 overall net jobs. In that same period, Ohio, that had more manufacturing jobs, who lost almost exactly the same amount, about 30,000 less, manufacturing jobs. You following me, folks? 30,000 jobs less, but they lost almost the same amount of big 3 jobs, same amount of union jobs, same problem. that we had, and they added 69,300 jobs. We lost 200,000, and Ohio gained 69,000 by not adopting demonics. Jennifer Granholm, how do you answer that? Liz Boyd, why? And here's a bigger question: Why is our media not ask questions? I'm a guy in a basement doing an internet radio program who gathered this information off the internet, off of government sites. It's not like it was hidden. It's not like nobody knew. Why is it that every time I read an article like this one, where the state income plunges, I got to tolerate Liz Boyd, the Jennifer Granholm's mouthpiece, telling us that this is all because of the auto manufacturers losing their job? It didn't happen in Ohio. How do you explain that? You can't. You can't. It's a failing philosophy that caused all of this. Okay, I want to go back to how they're laughing at us, and I'm talking about the Democrats here. Okay, because I'm totally pissed at them. Do you guys know that in the past, before we got diverted on the gay thing there, do you know, John, that they had Lady effing Gaga testifying before Congress?
Oh, she's like a 23-year-old woman who's a performer. How does she? What expertise could she offer a congressional hearing?
I have no idea. Would she have sex with a girl, and that makes her qualified to comment on the military?
Look at Stephen Colbert. That's what she was commenting on?
Yes, on whether or not we should have don't ask, don't tell in our military.
Oh,
we're going to. I mean, that's why I'm saying they're absolutely laughing at us at this point.
You know, like Camille Paglia, I don't know if you ever read Camille Paglia. She says that the politicians and everybody is pandering to these celebrities. Everybody wants to be famous for 15 minutes. And she goes, she's laughing about that herself, you know.
Well, you know, it pisses me off when I see these people showing up in the Rose Garden or in the White House. It doesn't, you know, that's bad enough that our president's wasting, you know, valuable time when he should be directing his attention elsewhere. That's one thing. But to have them testifying in front of Congress like this, like I really give a damn. What the hell's next, John? Honestly, is it SpongeBob SquarePants commenting on frickin' global warming?
Or no, how about the plight of the oceans and and
absolutely. Am I going to see Squidward there?
Yeah, but pretty soon, like Rush Limbaugh said this years ago, they had like Sissy Spacek. Instead of having real farmers in front of Congress talk about the problems of being a farming family, or agribusiness family, they had Sissy Spacek in there testifying. No, she wasn't a farmer, but she played one on television. It's like ridiculous.
Played one on television. It is. And then the biggest thumb in our frickin' eye of all, Stephen Colbert, who testifies on immigration. Stephen Colbert, and here's the part that made me think they were just absolutely laughing. Did you see it? Here's the part that made me absolutely, just absolutely jump out of my chair and start screaming at my TV. He didn't even do it. Stephen Colbert is a comedian. And I got to tell you this one. This is kind of funny. Conan O'Brien, he lost his late night gig with on the Late Show. We all know that job. So it's Conan O'Brien goes on and has his own internet program for a while, which was funny as hell. And he wasn't restraining himself, which just goes to prove that freedom of speech is a wonderful thing. So he says, "Yeah, I'm trying to get." This is his joke. "I'm trying to get a show." He says, on maybe Comedy Central, like Stephen Colbert did. He says, "But I don't think I'd like the taste of Jon Stewart's dick." Oh my God. Isn't that great?
I can't believe he said that. No.
Well, it's on the internet, so we can say it just like I just said it. We can say anything we damn well want here. Love freedom of speech.
With the Obama's administration, I heard, is actually going to try. They're trying to find ways of finding to regulate this kind of stuff because they don't want misinformation out there or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, like with the Wikipedia thing.
Yeah.
I applaud them guys. Look, I know, okay, this is a very similar argument that they make, that having this information out, and I think that probably Wikipedia should have shown, and I'm not going to defend them, they should have showed a little more sensitivity and maybe retracted some of the names of some of the people. They should have done that them damn selves. However, releasing that information, yeah, I remember when General Westmoreland was lying to me every damn day about Vietnam. So I don't want our our policy in other countries dictated by people that are going to censor the information that comes out.
Did you ever see? I'm a big MASH fan. You know MASH.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Remember that one time when they went to that press conference and they were asking why they couldn't have incubators, and they were asking questions. All the press was jumping in, and the general was conducting the press conference. Goes, wait a minute, this is a press conference. The last thing we want to do is give out a lot of information.
Absolutely. You make a great point, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think that we need more information. Now, is it true? Is it true that sometimes you might endanger your troops? Yes. Is it true that some kind of hate speech may come across the airways that may cause some small deranged individuals to do deranged things? Absolutely. That's it. But you know what? That's the cost. That's the price of having freedom of speech. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. You know what? I'll tell you what. Them soldiers are out there dying. God bless them. I've had friends that died over there, and they fight every day for my right to sit on this radio. They fight for my right to have the free speech and the free press that we have. Dude, that's what they are dying for. So when they say that we can't have Wikipedia, when they say we can't expose them troops to that, yeah, you have personal responsibility, Wikipedia, to try to minimize as much as you can, but that's what they are dying for. That's why they're there. So absolutely, we should have the freedom of speech to have this sort of thing. There's just no way that they should be able to, and they make the same comparison when they say that we might have people acting out against gays, people acting out against radical fractions. It's the butterfly effect. Look, anybody that knows what the butterfly effect is, it's kind of like this theory that some butterfly flaps his wing in South America and it creates a hurricane in the Atlantic that comes in and hits the United States. And it can absolutely happen. But do we kill all the butterflies in South America? No, we do not. No, we do not. Why don't we? Because that's a rational thought. You don't restrict every single person on the internet from saying anything they want because one person, one butterfly, may cause a terrorist attack. By the way, and speaking of terrorist attacks, did you? I got to wrap it up because we're getting close to the end of this. Did you hear that they interrupted a terrorist attack to try to blow up the Eiffel Tower?
No, I didn't hear. Yeah, I did hear about that. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What do you think France's response to that would be?
What was it?
I don't know.
French mind.
Well, there goes the Eiffel Tower.
Damn.
Damn. What is it you people want so you don't blow up anything else? That's just ridiculous, man. I'm telling you right now, dudes. We have got to find a way to protect ourselves. Whether it's from the right wing that wants to restrict your right to criticize the troops, that wants to restrict your rights to have freedom of speech in the arenas of what your children. I mean, people. I want you guys, the parents, to decide what you want to have in your classrooms. I don't want the government dictating that I have to talk about gay marriage or that I can't talk about gay marriage. It's your school that you send your children from. Be involved, people. You go down there and you tell them what kind of sex education you have. You don't have Barack Obama and a bunch of people dictating. Look, I don't want people, you have to keep things local. I don't want people in Detroit telling me how I should hunt bear in the UP, and I don't want people in the UP telling me what to do about the crack problem in Detroit. You handle the things that are in your area, less government, more centralized, more local. Or less centralized, more local. Okay, we only got a minute left, so I'm going to use that wonderful minute as I always do. Thank you, Flint Talk Radio, the most wonderful underground guerrilla radio station on the planet Earth that allows me to have the freedom to say these things. I want to thank John Wilson and Steve Myers for being crazy enough to put me on the radio. What the hell are you guys thinking? I want to thank all you guys for listening. Every day we get smarter. Every day we get stronger. Remember that we're the people. We are the people. Don't forget, the beginning of the Constitution of the United States, we the people. We're the ones that do this, not them. Power emanates from us. If it ever stops, we're in deep trouble. This is Third Rail Politics, and I'm the hippie conservative. Peace, people. Take care of one another.